and changing your screens that you're familiar with. And what I want to do is just demonstrate what the LowFlow Wizard software upgrade looks like, how to use it. It's incredibly simple. We have so far extracted some data from all our machines, which is able to be done with these new machines. So I can show you that we have extracted all this data. So what our consumption is since February 2020 when we had them installed, but also as well since March also, because we think actually averaging over a couple of years may not be a good way of looking at our consumption because of COVID. Obviously, you know, a lot of the theatres weren't being used for elective cases, etc. during that time. So we're working that out, but we're also going to, after installation and after today's presentation, in a month's time, then essentially re-audit, or recollect this consumption data. I'm just going to show you now very quickly what the LowFlow Wizard software looks like. So this is the default screen now on all the machines across the trust, or at least on all the theatre machines, the Perseus A500s. It's in view 2. You still have the option of changing, if you like, to a very simple screen, the default that we've set up, and then also just one with kind of pressure and volume loops for more patient information. But let me just show you the LowFlow Wizard. On the left-hand side, you have the usual kind of end tidal and inspiratory concentrations. Below it, you have, I'm not sure whether you've come across this, many people, but we've had this since the installation, which is essentially volatile prediction. That helps you confidently be able to reduce your flows and not worry about your end tidal sevo drifting incredibly low, etc. This is oxygen prediction, is the next panel. This again allows you to reduce your flows without worrying about your oxygen consumption or you dropping below your oxygen consumption and therefore your kind of inspiratory dropping. This is your LowFlow Wizard. So this little panel here is what I'm going to come back to now that I've started the ventilator. We already had econometer, but we've installed econometer trend as an upgrade as well. And in the default screen, this will give you your leak in your system as well. So your delta VT, so the difference between the volume going in and out of the machine. So I'll give that a few breaths and then I'll show you what actually the LowFlow Wizard does. The moment it's telling us that our flows are too high. The lower graph is telling us what the flows are. So it's, you know, above, at the minute it's 8 litres a minute, so it's above 4. And above that is giving us our required fresh gas flow. And what that means is enough fresh gas flow to overcome any leaks that there may be, but also as well the gas consumption is related to your carbon dioxide soda lime, essentially being absorbed in your soda lime. So we can see that we're running at 8 litres a minute. We're not being efficient at all, okay? And there's scope to improve that. I've normally dropped down to 1 litre a minute, one for maintenance, and that's really my default. Unless I've got a very long case, and then I might play around with flows that are below that. We can see now that we're much more efficient, but there is scope to improve that. Does that make sense? So our required fresh flow is less than 1, and actually it's about 0.5. So let me just demonstrate how I can safely do that. So now I can come down to 0.9, give it a few breaths, and check that nothing has changed within that time, and I know that there's scope to even decrease that even further. If I reduce it too far, there may be oxygen implications to that, and therefore you can see that in your prediction that it will drop to 20%, etc. in 10 minutes time, allow you to increase your FiO2. But as you can see, the LowFlow Wizard is telling me that I'm too low, so I need to go up above that required fresh gas flow. Okay, that is it. It's as simple as that. There is evidence, Drager-sponsored evidence, that shows that the use of LowFlow Wizard is equivalent to end tidal control. And the Drager machines are more efficient than, say, for instance, GE machines at King's College Hospital that have end tidal control. So theoretically, we can even be more efficient than them because of the design of the actual ventilator, because of the turbine driven, and essentially it has a gas injector as opposed to a draw over vaporizer. That is everything that you need to be aware of. Please use it. Give us your feedback, and we'll be taking that information then at the end of the month. The LowFlow Wizard will be dropping off after about 43 days. We'll interpret the data, get some feedback from yourselves, and then consider a business case to purchase the software. That's all. Thank you very much for the time.
Right. Thank you very much, Oli.